Welcome to the Molybdenum Software Show, where you get your money's worth. Doesn't mean much
An
because
insult to us.
it's free. So at least your money's worth.
There you go. That covers everything.
And just making a tiny change here to my infra.
All right. You had a README before, I think.
I didn't have anything but this first line
Oh, really?
for a while, at least.
You're not proud of anything, everything. There we go.
Good enough for now. Meantime, I added a plugin.
Yep.
That sets scroll off. You know the scroll off option?
I do not know the scroll off. Oh, is it the buffer for scrolling?
It's like it keeps your caret
Got it.
away from the edge of the scroll.
Interesting. That's called
So,
scroll off.
Well,
offset.
Scroll off is a built-in option, but the plugin sets it to a relative number, like a fraction of the buffer.
Height of the screen?
Yeah,
Height
exactly.
of your buffer?
Yeah, so you can see now it's, I think I kept the default, which is 0.2. And that looks like 0.2 to me. And then if I do something like that, suddenly it's less rows.
Nice. That would be a good one to try to upstream to Vim. Port all
Phoenix
that.
Vim? Oh,
No,
to
to
Vim itself. Yeah, sure. Why not? I don't.
If you felt the urge to write some C code, I don't get this.
I really don't.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't mind bundling it up in NixVim. That would be nice.
Oh yeah, totally.
But roll off. Yep, it's Lua. Oh, look. I have a
zero config, huh?
I have a lid. Yeah. Now actually it might format it differently. No, it does. So I'd love to have some pre-commit hooks. A pre-commit hook. I know
for
there's
your repo.
Yeah, I know there's a flake part thing. Is there a flake part thing for that?
There is, and I use it, and it's great. It's part of the.
Or
it's part of some larger
what do you do?
ecosystem.
What do you execute?
Git commit.
What's triggered on git commit? Next flag check?
No, no, that would be way too slow for me to be sane at least. Just formatting. And I want to, because I think it's fast enough, do the linters, but I haven't set that up. And I
What's it
think it
called?
might. Uh, could have told you this without looking it up
Show me.
a few weeks ago. Sure. Share screen. Boom, boom. There we go. So I just went to my equivalent of your infra repo, and then in Flake modules, get hooks. Here it is. Get hooks Nix. And then to
Cool.
turn it on, it adds some new per system settings, I guess. So it turns on nil, which is kind of weird because I don't use nil in my editor anymore. I'd like to change this to the other one that you and I both use. And then did I put it in the formatting? So let's see.
This check, nil, for example, or other checks that it has, where do they come from?
The checks.
Yeah, the checks themselves. The checks themselves can be useful outside of a pre-commit, right? They could be useful as part of as a standalone check.
Yes. So the way that this module works, at least, Nix Flake show. I mean, I believe that anything you're going to check in a pre-commit should be enforced in CI because, people can always skip the pre-commit
Yeah, of
check.
course.
And I believe that is this thing's attitude as well. So I think it takes anything you set up as a pre-commit hook and adds it to Nix Flake check. And I'm trying to prove that to you and me, but man, it takes a while to evaluate these.
That's okay. Just get a faster machine.
All these NixOS machines in my life. There you go. Pre-commit right there.
Okay.
So it just does that.
Makes
Maybe you
sense.
can turn it off. So I think I have effectively two.
But it's kind of the wrong direction. Like I don't mind that it does that, but I'm thinking the source of truth for those checks should not be a Git hooks repository. They should live somewhere where I could grab them.
And I would love to chat more about that. You may notice I have in my formatting.nix, I have this to do. So something that smells a little off to me is I'm using the tree funked
Me too.
Flake module, which is great, just minimal whatever. It sets up Nix funked and it adds this tree funked check. So that's convenient. The thing it doesn't do is set up a pre-commit hook. And I think there's an interesting question there related to the thing you're asking is should the pre-commit hooks be the source of truth here, or should they be derived from, I don't know,
they should
checks
just
that are
be
marked as fast or something?
Your pre-commit hooks should just be some derivations, and then you pick your derivations from the checks.
Yeah, and I mean that is effectively, I think, what it is. It's just the configuration of those derivations, and I also think it's trying to do clever stuff like only check or lint the files that were changed as part of this thing that you're staged and are committing. So it's a little more nuanced. It needs to like understand which files, like how to invoke the check with the subset of files.
That sounds like it would be a non-trivial to compose with the otherwise complete checks.
Yeah. That's why the way that they have it right now works, where they're aware of the nuanced granular thing, and then they can also add a non-granular check.
But the composition shouldn't be... anyway, we have things to do.
Sure. So yeah, anyways, I'd be interested in having that conversation. And then the other thing that I'd be interested in having a conversation about at some point, not at all time sensitive, is I don't think there's an option for what is it, nixf tidy, at least when I last looked. So
nixf tidy is the one I want to use.
Exactly.
But statics also has some features that nixf tidy doesn't.
Oh, really? Okay.
I think so. nixf tidy doesn't have much at the moment. What it does have is, I really like, very basic things.
The auto completion.
That's nixd. nixf tidy is a linter.
Okay. Yeah. But they're part of the same project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I guess
statics...
all I notice is the unused variables and maybe some unnecessary parentheses.
Also, the rec keyword, on if it's not used, it tells you about it. But statics doesn't. But statics for me fails to parse the pipe operator, the experimental pipe operator.
Oh, ouch.
So I'm feeling a bit bleeding edge at the moment. I would like to use something that otherwise it could use. But I would take the pipe operator over statics currently. And nixd
have them both contribute.
Swallows it. Also, nixd is nixf tidy. It's like also you have to do some work in order to, or is it already in the Git hooks nix?
Is what already in the Git hook?
The nixf tidy. Because
no, it was not when I set this all up. So that's something that's on my list of things to do at some point. Unless somebody did it for me.
It's a bit of a, you have to create some wrapper for it because it just gives you JSON.
I don't think it'd be time consuming. It's just a thing.
I actually did that already.
For your job that you're no longer at?
Yeah. So maybe I'll ask him for the copy paste.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think we're working on a cool project. And I'm super down to keep working on it, but I feel like we could probably
we have to
completely busy with just like random open source things like this that are just like, oh, I ran into this. And I'd be,
I like that we're talking about this because I think it would give also viewers ideas what to work on.
And I sure would love to inspire people with like, oh, we're not just building our own software from scratch, but like we were using something, it didn't do what we wanted, and we're not afraid. We just jumped over there and we fixed it, or we added the feature, or whatever. I'd love to see more people doing that rather than just like whining on issue trackers about why haven't you done this yet? And then, the classic Flame conversation about like, dude, they're not paid. Like, just it's not that hard to do it yourself. So, anyways, shall we dive in?
Yes, please. Go ahead.
All right, I'll reset the timer here. All right. Ergo test. So we were going to work on speeding up the tests, right? This is unacceptably slow.
It is.
All right. Well, this will be a fun little adventure. This is going to be in like API circle lib. And the thing that's slow is this acquire. Is that where we're hanging?
The await for it, yes.
Okay. There we go. So 34 seconds is the time to beat. And there's one test in particular. You happen to remember what it's called?
Health check not okay.
Wonderful. Okay, so if I do something like cargo test that, this is the slow test, which just kills the database before running the health check. And we would like for that to not be so slow. All right.
Why is it not slow in main?
Excellent question. We're not the ones doing the acquire in main, right?
Mm-hmm.
Can I just confirm this with like a couple of print statements that we're talking about? This line of code here? Okay. So I want to do a print. Is it easy for me to print the current timestamp?
Try dbg instead.
Okay. Acquire a connection from the pool.
Or an ePrint line. Because I think stood out.
Sure.
Is
just acquired a connection from the pool. And what's the easiest way to just get a timestamp in here?
I don't know.
System time now. Maybe I'm asking Rust. Current
stood time.
Stood time. Now data lapsed. Sure. Oh, slick. They do the subtraction for us, huh? Love it. I'll do that. I won't even print anything here. I will capture the start time before, yes. And then I'll just acquired a connection from the pool. That took duration, or this is before ts dot elapsed. Elapsed. Am I reading that wrong? System time now. Oh, I haven't imported this thing yet. Okay. Import stood qualify as. There we go. Okay. Here we go. No. Can't win. I need to use colon question mark. Okay. So we would have expected that print statement to have shown up. It hasn't. Maybe getting a connection from the pool is instantaneous because it doesn't check if the connection's alive.
Maybe it's still swallowing the. Try no capture. It's not a flag to that. It's hyphen hyphen, and then no capture.
Hyphen hyphen. No capture.
At the end of the
entire, like this.
Yes, and no capture is a single word for some reason.
Very vim of them. About to acquire a connection from the pool. Great. Awesome. Okay. So this confirms our theory at least. Does acquire have like a timeout parameter? The total time this method is allowed to execute is capped by pool options. So don't think we want to reconfigure the whole pool. Uh-oh. Why don't we see the close parentheses to that? Oh, because
We're
I
not
need to break
supposed
this
to.
up a little bit, huh? I'm sorry, I will rotate. Mob next. You can have it. So yesterday I learned that asking for code actions is not actually really slow. It's that my keyboard shortcut in Vim to ask for code actions was one of that was what it was a prefix of some other keyboard shortcut I had configured. And Vim like delays executing those keyboard shortcuts long enough to wait to see if you're going to press more keys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had that.
And my life is so much better now. Like code actions were basically slow, almost always were slower than me doing the thing, unless I didn't know what the thing was. And now it's like, oh, I could see this actually being faster. Could you
Do
share
you
screen?
know um about this question I just asked?
Could you share screen?
Should, I suppose.
Or, sorry, which question? Should I be looking somewhere?
My screen.
Okay. Hmm.
I'm trying to understand, please, why there is an extra plugins item in a list, config, but not an equivalent, which is Vim script, but not an equivalent extra plugins item config Lua. And then I thought perhaps there's a helper that takes a Lua string and returns a Vim script string that executes that Lua string, but I don't see one. Help?
I
So
don't
what I ended up
remember.
doing
Go
is
ahead.
using extra plugins and then just putting the plugin as the item, the package, and then using extra config Lua.
Was this to use that scroll off that you mentioned,
Sure. Yeah.
or just anything? But that's what.
Any
Yeah,
plugin that is not packaged for NixVim and you
got it.
want to configure it with Lua.
Okay. So I think with those, I've just actually ended up writing Nixvim modules for
Really?
them. So I guess that's why I haven't. That may be why I haven't run into this issue. My thinking being,
Why would
if
you
you
do
write it
that?
that way, it'll be easier to upstream.
Oh. Mm-hmm.
But to answer so I think I didn't know about this setting. This is basically like a piece of Vim script code that's like you get to write sort of co-located with your plugin.
Well, but co-location is not a problem, right? Because that's easy to solve with the module system.
Mm-hmm.
An extra plugin is a list of either just the package or a submodule that has this plugin and then config. But this is just Vim script, so I'm
Yeah,
just missing config Lua here, and I'm not getting it.
but you could also just solve this, like you said, without this setting. You could use
Yep.
extra config Lua
So
or something.
right. So why does it exist at all?
It's probably because not everyone's as good as you are about putting things in individual Nix files.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you imagine one massive Nix file and you want to
Yeah.
co-locate your plugin, you get what I'm saying.
I find it difficult to believe that not everyone knows how to use the module system well, so we will have an extra option for
Yeah,
them.
or maybe it's just like even if it's not necessary, it's nice to have something idiomatically like obviously related. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
We'll
To
see the
answer your
answer we'll get.
question about converting from Lua to VimScript or vice versa,
Mm-hmm.
that was the first thing I worked on for VimScript. They have a um, they had a
Mm-hmm.
buggy implementation of that code, and I fixed the
But
bug.
there is no such helper.
There is no such documented helper, maybe.
Huh? You
There might be.
contributed a helper that does what I'm
No, no, no,
looking
no. I
for.
fixed a bug in a helper. There was already a to-do.
What's the helper called?
Oh gosh.
It's
Oh,
internal. It's
sorry.
not. It's
My
not
brain
here.
is a sieve. I don't. No, it's not internal. And it might be documented. Like I just. You are much better at reading docs than me, Shahar. So, uh, I. It's very possible that it's there, and I just never saw it.
There's
Maybe I
only
even saw
make
it and I
raw
don't
here. That's the
remember.
only thing that's remotely similar to anything,
Okay.
and it
So,
option needs to support it because it's just a kind of a wrapper. It doesn't do much. Just
yeah.
wraps it in a set.
Well, I think make raw is basically just saying, uh, don't escape this thing as
Okay,
a
hold
vim
on.
as a string when you inject it into Lua.
Nix REPL GitHub Nix community Nix Vim download download download.
So the issue I ran into was I adopted Nix Vim and I was like, okay, you know what? I'm gonna start. I started doing everything slowly, started from scratch and ported everything idiomatically. And then at some point I was like, I have been doing this for a week. I am gonna just take the rest of everything and dump it into like an extra config blob.
Lib Nix Vim. Wait, what? Lib. Oh, the lib is systemized.
Mhm.
Helpers. Okay. Lua.
Wrap Lua for VimScript, wrap VimScript for Lua. Those are the functions I worked on.
What? All this exists and it's not here.
I
So
don't
they're
know that
just
it's not here.
uh,
What I will tell you is I did not
here.
change
Wrap
the scope of the API. I just fixed
Lua.
existing bugs in the API.
There is no. It's not documented.
Okay.
Huh. So this does something like vim opt who
It takes a string and
vim
returns a string.
opt who equals to. That's what I wanted. Why isn't this documented? No, 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 no. Well,
I didn't know it wasn't documented. I didn't add this. I made it work a little better.
you improved escaping, or
So can
what?
I show you? Yeah, exactly. Try putting some like set foo equal to the string EOF.
Oh no, you didn't.
Oh, I did.
What am I saying here? Can I? Sorry. I don't know if it matters, but
Yeah, that'll be a
copy
little
this.
easier to read.
But it still gives it in this format. So.
Yeah, do built-in trace of this. Then you'll actually be able to see, like, not in a string form.
I want to pipe it.
Can you do that in the REPL?
Trace. Oh no.
Oh, maybe you can, but you just need to restart your REPL.
Huh?
Excuse me.
Right. Mental features at GitHub Unity.
That probably could have been an alt dot situation.
Mm-hmm. Huh.
Oh, built-in set trace takes 2 parameters. I guess you want the. It's probably something that takes 1 argument,
As well.
but that's not a built-in, right? It's from Nick packages.
There is one? Trace. Oh no.
Isn't trace val from Nick's
Yeah.
packages?
Trace. Okay. So what am I? How can I?
You could write a function here that takes a single argument and applies it twice.
Which one is the?
Just do. Or okay, that works. I guess you gotta
Does it
change the
work?
right part of your pipe to a function. You know, like say x colon built-in dot trace xx. Or maybe that. Yeah. Oh, do we need
Wrap.
paren? Beautiful. Yeah, that's a little more readable.
What am I looking at here? What is this? This is two.
I guess
like,
trace prefixes its output with trace colon space.
But what is this? And the string has a line fade. Okay.
Yeah.
Line fade. Im opt foo equals. This is. What was the input? Okay, I can see that it seems to work. What is?
So do you see how the
end
here
of
doc?
file F? What does this F come from?
That's the escaping logic. So these are like here docs. I don't know if you've ever dealt with here docs in Bash or other
The
programming
number
languages.
of Fs.
It's just you can type anything for EOF. And the rule is that thing can't show up inside of the body because that's your delimiter.
It's an extensible EOF.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be EOF. It could be like JFly with a bunch of Y's at the end, which I could have done if I felt like plastering my name in
This
this
is
thing.
just kind of a dynamic keyword or an identifier.
It's a it's a boundary thingy. It's a clever idea.
So what did you do? Like how to implement it?
So
You kept
previously they
adding
just hard
Fs
coded.
if you find
Yeah.
EOF.
While delimiter in string add another F. Effectively. So start with delimiter EOF. Is it in the string? Oh, okay. Add
And
another
that's
F.
implemented in Nix, it's a recursive function.
Yeah.
Good. Thank you for your contribution.
And then same thing for the reverse direction for wrap Vim script for Lua. So, yep, you are welcome. Not that I think you'll have code nuanced enough where it matters, but you can wrap without worry now.
All right. Go ahead.
All right. Sharing screen. Okay. So there's this pool options acquire timeout.
Seems like we're going to have to mutate pool. How do we make pool? How do we create a pool anyway? Where do we create a pool?
We give it to the middleware. This is where we do it. Refer to the relevant connect options info for your database.
Connect is a constructor that connects with defaults.
I guess the default configuration is mainly suited for testing and light duty applications.
Whoopsie.
So the pool options new is the, so there it is.
Still a related change.
I mean, apparently we were getting, we could go dig into the, what was it? If it was a core part of Rocket
Rocket.
or some
Yeah.
crate we were using built on top of Rocket, we could go try to find what its settings were and replicate them over here. And that would be the like minimal change sort of thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
So do we want to do that? Or should we just even see if we can?
I would like to see what Rocket does, just for education.
Yeah. All right. I would like to get the quick dopamine hit of setting a timeout and seeing it have an effect, and then we can go like read what Rocket does.
Sure. Dopamine hit.
So pool options DB new. This is a an empty, unconfigured set of options. Is that the way to read this? No, this doesn't take any. Returns a sane. Production applications will likely want to at least modify max connections. See the source of this method for current default values. So I guess I go in there. Okay. Acquire timeout is 30 seconds. There we go. All right. So when we can instead construct our own pool options. And is there like a convenient way of doing this, or do we just have to specify everything?
The looking through the source is not the most.
Tell me what to do.
Rust documentation is nice.
Okay. I promise it's not Nix that made me this way. Docs. This is not. This is the thing I'm looking for. Where is there a link to the document?
There usually is, but I think in this case it's SQLX that you're looking for, not SQLX4.
Got it. Thank you. Okay. Pool option. Here we go.
There you go. Now you have a bunch of methods on the left.
So new is the one we're using.
Well, is it? We're using pool new.
Yeah,
pool options new.
Mm-hmm.
Now you could also possibly find the trait implementation of default.
Default.
Okay, yeah. So
you think that does the same thing as new?
Probably.
And are these like? Do you think these are mutatable or extensible after the fact? Like, if I had pool options, could I do
probably
acquire timeout? Set. Okay, so it's like a fluent interface.
It's
and
a
this
builder.
Returns a new. Wonderful. Okay. I have no changes, so go for it.
You have 2 minutes.
Oh, I thought I heard. Oh, I'm just.
You have a different notification.
Man, I'm not used to having notifications turned on in my life yet. Okay, so here we go. We're gonna pop the stack here, and I'm gonna take this line of code. I'm gonna move that over here. Wait to unwrap. Let db pool equal that. And that should be a no op change once I get the right things imported. And this will be Postgres. Love it, love it, love it. And db Earl. Okay, great. And then I will do dot acquire timeout is 1 second. Yeah, just going for the quick dopamine hit
Is it
here.
in seconds? Here we go.
No idea. I just want to see that something has happened. Arguments are incorrect. Expected duration. I like that.
It's probably something like you need to delete that one, the trailing one, in order to get completion. Duration, and then probably have from.
Love it.
From sex.
Yeah. Love it. Okay, so this test should be a lot faster now. Yes. Beautiful. That took just over 1 second. Okay. Great. So now we're going to go look at find the defaults from Rocket CD. Great. We were. All right. So let's take a look at main. PR tracker. Do you even remember what crate we were using for this?
Rocket?
Rocket DB pools?
Yeah.
All right. So at this point, I just want to see the source code. How do I get to the source code?
You can get to the source code of like something specific.
I want like the Git repo. How do I find the corresponding Git repo for this crate?
Google it.
Okay.
This is not on the docs.rs. It's self-hosted.
I can't find it. This is just repository. Here we go. Okay. I just want to like look for pool options in here. Pool options. Here we go. Pool options. There we go. Oh, but it's now we got to read more code. All right. Config, figment extract, or the default?
Yep. Figment.
Figment. That rings a bell.
That's the configuration framework. But you see that type config there? Go to the definition of that. If
This one right here.
I don't think you have support here.
Yeah. Extract config. Config. Where? What do they call it? Connect timeout.
I think it's a different config.
Connect timeout. Okay, base configuration for all database drivers. Dictionary matching the struct extracted from the active figment scope to blah. With the default provider, these parameters are typically configured in blah. These have same defaults. Show me the defaults. It's documented as 5. Ugh. That's not the source of truth, though, right? Not like something's parsing that. Is it?
I think it is. Look how it's. No, well. I don't know. It's unlikely, but it could be. Take a look above it.
Sorry, over here.
Yep. Well, just above it, the derive. See that the derive default?
Yeah. Defaults provided by the figment created in the initializer pairing. Okay, fairing tells me it's a rocket thing. Doesn't tell me
Keep
where to.
searching for this field like you did. I think you'll find it.
Yeah. So there it is. Right there. Build. This is a test bench. Never mind. Just happens to have the number 5. Comment it out. There's the struct definition. Comment. Here we go. Maybe this is it. Fairing workers times 40. Okay, so there's duplicated logic there. I don't like that, but that's fine. We found the answer. So max connections is workers times 4. Connect timeout is 5. Cool stuff.
And is that for production? Is there a development and production?
I don't see any distinction here.
I think I remember Rocket has like a flag. Even in command line, you can say, I want the production process now.
But
But
we
in lieu
didn't
of that,
override
I'm
any of
going
this.
to understand this as production.
Yeah,
Or like everything.
I agree.
And that's a bit much for us. We don't well, like currently, so if we don't expose this, right? Currently, we're not exposing this as a CLI, right? There is no environment for this.
Yep. I feel fine with setting it to 5, and then we can talk about the max connections.
The max connection. We need to talk about the max connection.
I feel like we do. We both see that it was set here, and while we were reading the doc string, they said for production applications, you probably want to think about that one.
Mm-hmm. So otherwise, so this doesn't set anything else, right?
This code doesn't look like it does, but we read this doc string. No default for min. There's a default for max, a default for connect timeout. We found that. No default for idle. No default for extension. Yes. So I think it's just those two.
Okay. Yeah. So let's set it to 5 for production. Just a hard-coded
There
5.
we go. And then I think the next thing to discuss is dot max. Mob next. So they're setting it to some scalar multiple of the number of workers. So effectively what they're saying is, yeah, we're doing async IO, so workers can handle multiple requests in parallel, but I want to cap it at kind of like effectively 4 requests in parallel. And I mean, it makes sense to me that they want some default. It also makes sense to me that it's extremely dependent upon your application and workload.
Why are we trying to prevent the creation of too many connections?
Yeah, so I think we could just take the attitude of screw it, it doesn't matter. And I'm okay with that. I think like if we somehow ended up in a situation where the database was slow, I think we basically don't. This is effectively a back pressure mechanism. So if the database is slow, and then we're getting a bunch of API traffic, we're going to hammer the database with a new connection for every new request right now because we probably don't have a limit. So we'll DOS the database as much as our Rust application is able to.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if we were to set this thing to some finite number, then it kind of caps the amount of pressure we can put on the database. And we don't necessarily care about this, but I think that's the reason why they say you should at least have the talk. And you and I are having the talk.
Mm-hmm. It's a problem that we don't yet have.
Sure. Success problem.
But we could. And what is workers in our case? What is workers in Rocket's case anyway?
So I would expect the way that Rocket works
I think it's a
is it
Tokyo thing.
spins, or Tokyo, it spins up a few threads, which then all do cooperative multitasking internally. That would be my expectation.
Yeah, for I/O.
Well, I mean, I guess I'd expect the I/O to be async. So I think the reason is basically so you can achieve maximal utilization of a multi-core machine.
Yes, in an async in an async application, or in other words, in a concurrent application, the I/O was parallel.
Right. You can have a single-threaded thing that handles multiple requests, not getting blocked on I/O, but you're only going to use one core of your like many core machine. That's
And
where
I don't
threads
know
are
what
helpful.
Tokyo does by default. When you use
It would,
Tokyo main,
yeah,
I
it
don't
would
know whether
probably
you
be the
end
number
up.
of cores, right? But that's also maybe something we should set explicitly. Because like arguably using all the cores is not the right default for us because we know that the machine that this runs on also has a database. Like maybe we should leave a core free for the database. It's also got a fetcher that wakes up every night.
Yeah, there are more considerations here. I think we probably just want to leave it.
Yeah.
Just leave it.
Yeah. I mean, this like performance tuning is like stuff that I've never like done, but I spent a lot of time talking about, if that makes sense. Like we, it just never actually made sense at my previous job for us to spend, the dollars, and by dollars I mean, man hours, people hours, actually doing real analysis here. And you can only do the real analysis when you have a production application with production traffic. We don't even have that.
Well, you could also say there's a risk of being DDoSed.
Yeah.
But the impact is acceptable. Like, sure, we'll be DDoSed, and our service will be unavailable until we fix it, and
Yeah.
our users will suffer denial of service until we get it fixed, and that's like
Yep.
reasonable, right?
Yeah.
It's not reasonable for us to try to prevent that now.
I 100% agree.
So I'm going to delete this and
Let's do it.
just. Do you want me to take care of? I don't know. Okay, so cargo test. Now
So we should have
it'll be
shaved
5 seconds.
25 seconds off of our test.
25? I do it right. Okay.
We dropped it from 30 to 5. Love it.
15 seconds. There's some GitHub calls here.
Okay. But I was getting like 35, 40 seconds when I ran the test suite yesterday. Now we're down to 15 or so. So that feels like a job well done.
And now in the tests, right? Not okay. We might want to customize that behavior.
Oh, like really ratchet it down to shave off another 4 seconds or 4 point something seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That would be, in my mind, a separate improvement. We've achieved parity with the old code.
Okay.
But I'm happy to file an issue. I'm also happy to just do it if you want to.
No, I don't. I want to make progress.
All right.
Next hit.
I'm going to delete the conflict markers I added here.
Share screen.
Oops. So I just started deleting the timing log lines. They were right here. Number. There we go. Goodbye. And goodbye. Okay. So I think we're just burning down the list of Clippy issues now. Shall we get into that mode?
Yep.
Okay.
Remove the unused ones.
All right. So, warning, the lint level is defined here. That's not very helpful. And then I guess let me practice my remove all the unused import. Nice. Okay. First possible panic. So do we have to document the panic?
Or not? Yeah. Well, yes.
Okay. How do I do that? Do I put it here?
So, for this is a library, but it's not really a library. You see what I'm saying? It's like a private library.
Sure.
There's only use a libraries for our testing. So this lint does not. It's not helpful.
Okay. So do we want to disable it?
I think we want to disable this lint for this crate.
Okay. Tell me how.
And then the source of truth for how something can panic is, or we could say, this panics. Look at the source for see source for panics, because at least then you'd have documentation that says this function can panic, and even for internal use, you'd have it documented. Yep.
Sure.
So do you know how to write doc comments?
3 slashes, I think.
Yep. And this is Markdown. And what it needs from me, I think there should be like even a autofix for this, right?
Okay, let's find out.
I guess not. It should have a Markdown section, such as it's seen in the warning itself. Look at the warning.
Sorry,
that's
Markdown.
Markdown. Hash space panics.
Hash space. Oh, okay. I see. Okay, panic.
Yep. And then you can say see source.
Okay.
Or C implementation.
Okay. Things are happening. Oh no, I've ended up with a file open that I don't want open. There's no way to make that go away.
Buffer delete. Doesn't buffer delete do it?
:BD. Maybe. Yes, it does. Okay, go. All right. Back to the top. I think that's the top. Yep. Test context is never constructed. Really? That's surprising, right?
This is because so look, see where this lives.
This lives in create API test yields.
Right. And then it is not used in that. Maybe if it is moved to tests directory, we wouldn't need that. But also,
why did this start happening now?
I'll tell you what. Okay, so this file this Rust module is not in the crate module tree.
Okay.
It's a test utility, right?
Sure.
So it is only defined in the test. See in another buffer, see the test file. There are two of them.
The test file that uses it?
Yep.
So that's test, and fetcher test.
Yeah, go into one of them and go to the top, the very top.
Mm-hmm.
This is like this is declaring that file as a module. The first two lines.
Okay. Path blah.
It says there's a module. In this scope, it'll be called test_util. And with an attribute, we specify what the path of that module is.
Got it.
So you can see why it would say that struct is not used, because in the it's speaking from about the context of the crate itself, of starting from the crate's root source lib. It's not used, or source main.
Well, this looks like it's
not
in
used.
the crate. Test util. No, whoops, sorry. Whatever file we've got here. Test. Yeah, that's in the API, right?
That doesn't mean it's in the module tree.
Okay.
Rust modules, the module tree is defined inside these basically. So
These mod keywords.
Go to main. No, go to lib. Are there anything other than lib? There's nothing other than lib, so there's no example of here. But yeah, mod keywords. These are module declarations. They declare. And by default, there's the default file name, file path resolution, and here we are overriding it.
Okay. So, like, for some reason, the code here doesn't have the same issue.
Because each integration test is a crate root, or it's not a crate root, it's a target root. It's a compilation target root. These end up as executables. The integration tests under tests.
Okay. So can we put, like, I mean, if it's its own crate root, then, and it is pulling in this code on the right half of my screen, the code is used.
It is.
It's
It
just
is used.
that, like, Clippy's running in a context where it doesn't evaluate the tests.
Is it Clippy?
Or Rust Analyzer, sorry.
You can see by the name of the lint rule that is being triggered.
Good code.
So this is not Clippy. This is, otherwise it would say Clippy.
Oh, okay.
This is core.
Right. So this is just running in like a context where it's evaluating our crate root, but not like the tests.
I think Roland mentioned something, and I'm now remembering that this module can be declared with like config test or something. Or the item itself, each item could be config test. Okay, that looks like it.
There we are. Says A is never constructed. This is the same situation. The error disappears
but
when I delete.
this lives inside tests. I don't know if it matters.
Should we put it in test?
Well, it seems like the same problem exists, but it lives in a subdirectory. Maybe that's why it doesn't end up itself as an integration test.
Mm-hmm.
That's why it's not at the root of tests. In this case, it's a subdirectory. In our case, it's parent directory.
Got it.
It says each test has its own duplicate of the common module. You see, it's not the same module because it's not the same compilation target. That makes sense?
Okay, I think so.
If you use pubmod, then the compiler will stop complaining because the warning doesn't apply to public items that are accessible from the crate root. That's one way to work around this, to say this is public.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a workaround, right? Because ideally, compiler would understand that it is used, right?
Yep.
Understand that it is used. Try adding config test on an item.
Config test.
It's an attribute CFG. Yeah, the second, the test module.
This thing?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
On the
Put it on the
struct.
struct.
Yeah. It's still never constructed.
I don't really understand where to put this, but
Yeah, that's what I wanted you to do.
Does seem to be giving us the same error.
Okay, it was just an attempt.
Yeah.
Another theory I have is that the cargo integration in the editor. What happens?
Like maybe this won't happen if I run cargo clippy.
It won't.
Oh, you're sure of that?
I'm pretty sure. Because.
Oh wow. Well, wait, that was
hold on. You didn't even. It didn't even include. You need to do cargo clippy tests flag, perhaps.
Okay. Yep, there it is.
It's there. No, that's more interesting because now it did show up. You know, it is definitely part of that. My theory was that in the context of the editor does not know what trees this is part of, right? Like what target trees.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it could try all of them, but so my theory was that it doesn't know, and you could add like the flag all targets for cargo check in or cargo clippy in the editor.
Mm-hmm.
But apparently, try all targets instead of tests. Cargo clippy all targets with the flag all target. I don't think it'll be any different. And was it like, what am I looking at here? Oh, okay.
Cargo clippy all target.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yep. So this is surprising because now this module is included from a target, you know? Try a different thing. Try config test on the module declaration. In one of the tests.
On the module declaration.
Yep.
Okay. That's going to be in test
each of the tests.
Like right here.
Yeah.
and do it in both places?
Maybe. So module never declares itself.
Looks the same.
Yeah. I don't think there's a way to solve this. I think just pub
But why didn't
those
we have this
items.
problem before?
We did. I think we did. I think we worked around it.
So we
If
lost
you
the
do
workaround?
a git diff, you'll probably see that we did some change.
Git diff, home. Okay. So we
In
think
that file.
test utils.rs not showing up. Test util singular. So here's the whole file. It's on my screen.
I don't know. I don't see the workaround.
Right. Okay, and if I search for other occurrences of test util.rs, nothing there. Nothing there. Test underscore util. Nothing. What's this commented out Tokyo test? I guess that's just some unrelated thing we did.
That's interesting, actually.
I want to add that back. It does feel like we aren't running all our tests.
Without tests, it won't reach that module at all.
Without tests?
Without the tests or the all targets flag, that module will not even be reached.
Sorry, how do I run all the tests?
And you run on the
okay.
tests.
Looks like
Cargo
so
test.
that test is not passing. Awesome. And now we're probably, hey, okay, so that made it appear to be used again.
Really?
There was the fact that we disabled the test
The test was
for some
disabled?
reason. Well, I mean, commented out. Like, I don't really understand what this.
Maybe, I think what's happening here is that there is no support. So if you put an async function in an integration tests file, it doesn't end up as a test. It simply doesn't run.
Mhm.
It ends up as like a helper function. And Tokyo provides a attribute to make it run.
Yep. Now what's weird is that wasn't the only place we used test context. I'm not sure why this is the magic but I guess I don't need to. I don't really need an answer to that question, unless you want to.
It's enough. No, there is an answer. I think the answer is clear to me. If
What's the answer?
the module is this is one target, and if that target declares a module, and then ends up not using something from it, then in that target, that struct is not used.
Okay, so this is about like a per. It was used in one test module, but not in the other test module.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, got it. Makes sense. Yep, sounds reasonable. I'm going to take a quick aside. It sure would be nice when we do stuff like that if we had conflict markers. so we could like find that stuff sooner than like when we do the full diff at the end.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so cargo clip is happy, but I think we have a failing test now. So that's exciting.
Would you mind if if our idiom would be a to-do comment instead?
Yeah, something like that. I guess like the issue with to do comments is, do we want to take a stance that they never landed main?
Mm-hmm.
And if we do, then I think it totally works. But if we
There might be a Clippy link for that.
sure, that would be nice. It's just like most projects let to dos land in main, and so then you need another thing. But if we want to take the stance that to dos are not allowed in main, and there's a ideally a something that keeps us from merging them to main, that would totally make me happy, and we'd just like go through the to dos before we do the final pass.
Sure.
And then I could like reconfigure my keyboard shortcuts to, I don't know, have some per project magic keyword that's not allowed, so that I don't litter these projects with conflict markers. I can be compatible with you. All right. So I probably need to rotate. Mob. Go for it. And I'll stop sharing.
But why do we have a failing test?
SD notify is not working for some reason. And that's probably why we commented it out. It's just I would have liked to realize we were. I'm annoyed because we're like fixing Clippy warnings, and like we didn't even know our test suite wasn't passing. And that's why I'd like us to have a better system for commenting things out.
Thing is, I thought it was working.
Well, somebody on some rotation, it may have been me. Actually, I'm sure it wasn't me because there'd be a conflict marker. But we commented that test out presumably because it wasn't passing and we didn't want to deal with it.
But this was redesigned so that SD notify is here. See?
Mm-hmm. Oh, and does this just not get used in tests?
It wasn't. I mean, the app is not main. That's what we did. App is what we have in the test context with. We call endpoint. We call the endpoint. We don't have the app, and therefore notifies. See so test, right? Test context, when you call with, you have an endpoint. Endpoint is this thing.
Yep.
Which
Which previously probably registered like a fairing or something to do the SD notify.
Something. Look.
Well, I feel like we could move that. Or no, we did this. We thought carefully about this, right? Because
this has been thought of with Rob. Here's API source main.
Mm-hmm.
What it does is it gets the environment, and then it obtains an acceptor and an endpoint from this thing called app. passing the port
Okay.
and the DB URL. And then it starts the server with the acceptor and runs it with the endpoint. App receives those port and DB URL. It starts the acceptor and it notifies. And that's the order is important, right? You have the acceptor running, then you can notify.
Mm-hmm.
And then it returns both of the it makes an endpoint passing the DB URL. So I think, and then returns the endpoint. And
it makes sense that we don't want our tests to all bind on a port unnecessarily. So the structure of the code makes sense. And the issue is previously the way we hooked into like application boot up was with like this fairing infrastructure. And
to
so
bind on a port unnecessary or to notify at all unnecessary?
well, I mean, the notify was arguably useful because our test asserted that it happened, even though it's like not necessary for our tests to work, other than the test that checks that we do this thing.
Yeah, but it's impure, right? It's like it does something with some environment variable. I don't even know how it succeeds in the tests where the environment variable is not even set. I think it just
doesn't
returns
require
okay.
it to exist, right?
It does not.
Yeah, it's only if the environment variable's there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think we could write this test just fundamentally differently, like a test that actually invokes app.
Right. It does. Yeah. And so here it does everything that's necessary to like prepare.
Yeah.
Here it can receive on that socket.
Oh, whoa. So we set an environment variable, but we never unset the environment variable?
Mm-hmm.
That's speaking of impure, that's like a side effect that persists past the test. Or, maybe we talked
There is
about
only
this and
one
each test is a
test
separate.
in this file.
So if there were multiple tests in this file, that would
Yes.
arguably be problematic.
Mm-hmm.
Got it. Does that mean that Rust can't parallelize tests within a test file?
Look. Environment variables are a means of in giving instructions to a child process.
Mm-hmm.
So what we should be doing here is actually running the child process. And when you run a child process, you don't need to do this.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah,
This
you just
sets the var
you
for the
extend the
current
environment
process.
for the child process.
Right.
Yeah. And this would be like a true integration test, which would be nice to have, right? Something. And like arguably, we could do this if we wanted to as a NixOS test.
True. Next.
I mean, like we kind of get those true end-to-end tests from our NixOS integration tests. Upstart 7, share screen. And I think we could achieve that in the Rust universe by, like you said, just starting a sub process that is our our actual server. I just don't know how to get our hands on the binary in this context.
Yeah, I mean, let's do it.
Okay. So how would we get our hands on the actual like server binary?
There, I think it's provided to tests in an environment variable. Try Googling something like cargo environment variable. Yep, first result. Now look at the section titles carefully.
Is this
This
the one?
is
Cargo target there?
this is environment variables cargo reads. That's not what we are looking for.
The sets and reads. Oh, I see.
Yep. So
These are the ones
scroll
that it reads.
past configuration environment variables. This is also cargo reads them. This is environment variables cargo sets for crates. I think this should be available for cargo test as well. In fact,
Okay.
it says that in the first paragraph. And you should have here something like cargo bin exe.
Yep. Love it.
Name.
Love it. So do we have an integration test here, or do we have a different type of test?
This is an integration.
Okay. And what makes it an integration test?
It's in the tests directory.
Okay. So are all tests integration tests?
No, you can have unit tests along with the source files.
Okay. But everything in the test directory is an integration test.
Correct.
Okay. Great. All right. So we're going to do n bang and bang. Boom, 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 boom. Cargo bin exe, and this will be, I don't even know what the name of this is. PR tracker API or something.
It'll be the name by default. By default, it is because you can have multiple executables from a crate. So this will be by default the name of the crate. PR tracker API.
Great. Okay. So this is like let server API exe equal blah. This should be a string.
Stir.
A stir, a ref stir. Okay. And then we'll do a child process, possibly a fragile child. So that goes away.
Yep.
And then this is the thing that reads from the socket and asserts that the ready occurred. This thing,
I think you want to
just
start
blocks
a command
right here. Yeah, I want to do a command. I don't know. New. And this will be API exe. And then I want this running while this is running.
You have to execute it as a child process, so it runs. At that point, you have no control, right? It runs. It's its own process. I think it'll be something. Well, first you want to set environment, and this is mutative. So you keep a mutable binding.
something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is an error. Is that because exec can fail?
I don't think we want exec. We want exec. What's exec?
Spawn?
Spawn. Yeah.
You. Okay. And I can unwrap
But I think
that.
we also don't want command. We want the Tokyo, because this is a Tokyo context. I think we want the Tokyo command.
Sure. That would be nice. Import Tokyo. Okay. So now we have a result of child error.
Yeah, that's just an unwrap.
Okay. Now we have a child. And then we can wait for this, and then we can like kill the child. Dot unwrap.
Probably many things have actions, quick fixes.
Oh, okay. All right. Cargo test. No test on.
But I don't think we want test context at all.
I agree. We just want to start up an async code routine.
But without test
whatever.
context, we don't have a database server running.
Good point. So we need to configure this thing with a database server. So I think test context is appropriate, actually.
Well, test context does not.
Or database context would be more appropriate.
Yes.
Yes, I agree. All right, I'll rotate it. Mob next.
I'm not used to this errors yet.
Mm-hmm.
Expected two arguments. With takes. What expected two arguments?
It needs a log destination.
Found one.
Remember how we added log destination?
Right. The F and the log destination.
So I think we'd set inherit for the log destination.
Something like log destination. Notice how the first one was this.
The first one was from somewhere else.
In my completion, log destination. Oh, now it's different. And I don't get completion. Oh, file and inherit. I got completion before then. Okay. And it will be inherit in this case.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Oops. See, no errors. Buff.
Excuse me. And then I think we need to spawn the child after we have a database. And there's what? An environment variable we created for the database URL. We're going to need that. I would expect us to have a context that gives us a database URL.
So that would be something like env.
Yeah. Database URL.
not sure how this works. Into iterator item is key value. So I think it'll be something like.
Is this really going to be nicer than just using end twice?
Yeah, maybe. That the base.
Database URL. How awesome were we? dbcontext.url. Oh, we are awesome, Shahar. Why would I even doubt it? Oh, I don't like this.
What happened?
I don't know. The formatting is gross. Oh, are you in rest mode? Nix mode?
Yeah,
Space separated.
apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I like this. Virtual lines, LSD lines. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's like how it's supposed to look. You know?
It is very well done.
Mismatch type. Font string.
All right. Let it be a string. Requires a PhD in Rust.
Answer. Expect. Wait a minute. What do you mean? What do you mean? Wait. Oh, wait. What's this? Oh, that's why. So the first one here is why it expects. I'm sorry. This is why it expects a.
Yep, I got it.
So this is as.
Or we could use .env twice. It'll be 2 lines of code fewer and not have these coercion.
We wouldn't.
I mean, we didn't have the coercion before.
How'd I get here? Oh, how'd I get here again? What? Sorry. That's the
Caps lock or something?
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Wait. Value. Socket. Path. As.
But we don't need the as path now.
Don't
right?
need the as
Or
path.
at least we didn't have it.
Borrow. Right? And then another env for database drawer. Here. What's this?
Still got that key placeholder.
Oh, I thought, okay. DB
Snippet engine or
context.
whatever.
DB URL. Those don't fail.
This seems like the winning move to me.
Yeah. Okay.
Love it.
And then we have a buffer. Receive.
And then we kill the child after the assertion.
Assert. This is just to satisfy the. And you think we can take this?
Sure.
You can put it right here. This is
No,
a
we can't do it
non-async.
there, right? There's a chance that we killed the child before it's written to the bucket if we do it there.
I'm sorry. Wait, and then here?
Yeah. But I would be inclined to do it after the assertion, just to keep the assertion next to the
Sure.
rec v.
But this is.
Oh,
This
yeah.
doesn't take
Can we
an
make this
async.
async?
It says FN once. That
Okay.
returns a
But does that mean we have to write a
local
separate
box
function that is
feature.
async or something?
We need to do, because there are no async closures yet. We need to do a closure that returns an async block, and then we don't need to do this here.
Now we can just return unit.
But box local needs to be called on the I think on the.
Okay. And we're not returning unit anymore. Do we need to?
Next.
Okay. Just did a mob start 7. Go. Okay. Good. I'm in the wrong place. SD notify is the magic. All right. Context gone. Sure. Force the async block.
Right. Now we have two closure-y things here. We have the closure and we have the async block. So I think we need the move keyword on both of them. Async move.
Yeah.
Isn't this verbose? Move,
L.
async move.
Yep. Okay. Required configuration variable is missing. Wonderful. I love that error. Thank you, us. I like past test for her.
You like what?
I like past
Oh,
us.
past us.
Talk about that in a minute. I just want to see the test path. Boom, baby. Okay, and then to actually prove that this test is testing what we think it's testing, I'm going to comment out the code.
No,
We
that's not
actually
the
have a
code.
failing.
That's not the
Sorry,
implementation.
I was just deleting this just
Oh,
thing
sorry. Go ahead,
without
delete it.
explaining anything. Sorry about that. That was not good pairing there. And then where is the code? Where's that
It's
entry
everything
point?
source lib.
It's not in main.
So lib.
Oh, I see.
That's
Acceptor
the
endpoint.
app.
Okay, so I'm going to comment this out, and we expect to see a failing test. Red test. Give me a red test. Boom. Wood block. Notifies panic at line 33. Don't see it. 33. Sock.recv. Okay.
I think that's the timeout. That error is it's timing out. So, line 18.
Line 18. I don't see 18.
Left side at code. Line 18.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So we've set a timeout on it. Makes sense. Yeah. So we created a socket. We waited a second. Nothing wrote to it. The test failed. That's what I want to see.
Yep.
I feel good about this. So now I'll do that. And let's talk about this port.
Let's talk about this port.
Do we need to allocate a port? That's such a, finite resource on a machine. Can we
What are you talking
bind on
about?
a socket instead? Have we implemented that?
No, unlikely. Well, why would, but that's the intended usage, right?
Yeah, it's just the annoying thing about starting up servers that listen on ports in a test context is like,
then
you have to pick a port.
Get a crate that provides you with free port and be done with it.
Yeah, we can. I was hoping that we had the ability to listen on a socket, because then, we could just allocate a
What
temp.
does test context? There's no listening in the test context.
I mean, I guess maybe I'm like being overly weird about this. Like, does database context find a free port for the? No, it does socket-based database stuff, right?
I suppose
That's how we avoided this problem.
Hmm.
I much I would much prefer to use a socket.
But
I
it's
hate
not.
the
It's a
code that looks for
feature.
free ports.
It's a feature in the app for testing.
Well, it's arguably a useful feature, period. But I get it. We shouldn't do it as part of this PR.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Just get
cargo
yeah
create, no, Rust create free TCP.
get port.
And the other thing that annoys me about this is it's like an
This is
inherently racy thing because you get a port, somebody else gets a port. No guarantee that you don't step on each other's toes.
it.
Does this look good?
It says this port is free, but it does not
It
keep
does
it
not
for you.
lock. Yeah, exactly. So like the right way to do this is to like get a port, try to start up, catch the like socket bind error, and keep retrying. But it's all just like terrible, and you should just use sockets instead. That said, it's not like a realistic problem. Like our tests are going to run fine.
You're saying
They're running in a like
it's a global namespace.
exactly. But like in CI, I'm sure we're running in a network namespace. So it's not actually really a global namespace. We're only fighting with ourselves. Like on
Mm-hmm.
GitHub Actions, I'm sure we're containerized and isolated, and there's some small chance that like
But
if you and I were
this
running,
sounds like something I also don't like now that you explained it to me. I
oh, have I told you we should just implement socket-based stuff? It might be straightforward.
probably, but afterward,
So
let's
shall we
create the
hard
problem
code a
already
port with a
exists.
to-do or
Yep,
use this
that
crate?
sounds good.
Okay, works for me. Now we are going to break our rule about to-dos in main if we do this.
Well, not a to do. We can make an issue because we already it's an
Sure.
existing problem.
Okay. GH issue create title add support for API server bound to socket. Boom. Submit. Boom, boom. And then we'll just hard code this and I'll add a don't use a socket instead. And I will say here, once we implement support for listening on a socket, we can clean up.
Clean up something doesn't exist yet.
Sure.
Don't submit it until it exists.
Integration test to no to stop the no longer hard code a port. Okay.
Just hold off on that update comment button, please.
I have not hit the button yet. Okay. So cargo test. We're back to this morning? Really?
Yeah, now that this test does not use test context with, then
Sure.
we have a target that does not use something. And therefore,
We
the real
shouldn't be
solution
using
is to make it
test.
public.
Well, we
It
shouldn't be
is
using
public.
test util here, right? We should just be using database context.
So why are we? Oh, yeah. So don't declare the module.
Yeah.
Why doesn't it tell us that we're using a module and not importing anything from it?
I don't know. Also,
Okay.
It's not working. Address already in use. Hey, look, we got the issue. Probably because we're not. You know how there's that like SO reuse port thingy
What? What reuses 40 to 42 right now?
Nope, I lied. We've leaked something. We've leaked
The assertion failed and the child was not killed. So,
fragile child.
yes.
We have a thing for this. Fragile child. Spawn fragile child? How does this work? Where do we
How does
use
this work, this thing that we made?
it? I just want to see an example of us using it. Here we go. Postgres, command new. Oh, so we did something. Oh, but fragile child's not async. I guess we don't need it to be async.
We don't. I don't think we do.
Okay. Because I mean, it's like async by virtue of being a sub process. Okay. Do we want to stop here or push through?
Push through a little bit.
Okay. So I'm going to use should process instead. And then we're going to construct a new child, but we're going to annotate this as being a fragile child. Apparently not.
There's no need to annotate it, right?
I'm there. How do we actually? Oh, spawn fragile. That's the magic. Okay, great. So instead of spawn, we'll do spawn fragile. Okay, and now it's a fragile child.
Go to the error. There's no method. That method is on a trait called spawn fragile.
Yeah. Spawn fragile. Spawn. Why don't I see it imported here? Oh, spawn fragile child. Okay. There we go. Use of undeclared crate or module. So we need to get our hands on fragile child. API cargo toml. Whereas DB context uses fragile child.
By path. I
So
think
it's
now
like
it
copy
should be
that.
in the workspace.
Okay, fragile child dot workspace through this up at the top. Cargo toml. And then this is like break forward slash child. And then we go to API cargo toml. And fragile child workspace. Child. Oh, and then we go back to our test. Beautiful. Fix it. Fix it. Remove all unused import. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. Okay, and then there's no await, but that's we don't actually need it to be async. All right. And now the process is no longer running because I killed it. So let's see if we spawn another one. Test notify. Okay. Oops. That test passed. I wouldn't have expected that. I guess I reintroduced the right code. My bad. We weren't ready for that. Goodbye. Let's see if we've got anything listening on 4242. We don't. That's a good sign. But this will be the better test. Beautiful. Now I can run the test multiple times and nothing's listening on port 42. 4242. And then I fix the bug, add the right code back, and our test should green. Wonderful. We did it. We got some good infrastructure in this project, Shahar.
Well done.
It's going to be stuff we missed the next time we start a new web, a new fresh web project in Rust.
Well, that's...
And then we'll say, hey, we should build a web framework. All right. Cargo test and cargo clippy all pass. But here's the big one. The moment of truth. Up next.
We might have warnings. Don't expect check would fail on those.
Wouldn't the warnings have popped out here?
Oh, okay.
I mean, I think we're in business. It'd probably be faster for you to do a mob start and do an exploit check, just given how much beefier your machine is than mine.
There we go.
This will be a good place to call it a week. Okay. A laptop race. Well, not a laptop race. It's apples versus oranges here, right? You've got a full-on desktop. Pretty colors. While we're waiting for this, is the next step mob done and look at the full diff?
Yeah, I'm sure we'll have some more amends to make.
Yeah. Cool. All right. Well, I think we're very, very close to the finish line.
Getting warm in here.
Yep, you're way past me. I'm on the depth. Maybe we'll look. Okay. So we won't try to push through that today. We'll leave that as an easy win for Monday morning. Monday afternoon.
Push through what?
Monday night. The actual look at the full diff and make a PR out of it.
Oh, yeah. That'll probably entail some more work.
Mm-hmm.
VM tests.
Yep. Yeah, I'm still compiling Rust code over here.
Whoops. Oh, something failed.
Aw. Okay. Well.
Something panicked. DNS error.
Oh. Now our server won't even boot up, whereas previously it probably would boot up.
Error sending request for URL. Why is it trying to do that in the NixOS tests? not supposed to do that.
Why is it trying to do what, sorry? Oh. Okay, never mind.
It's supposed to be excluded.
Well, this isn't a NixOS test. This is a. I mean, this is not a Nix.
Not in the NixOS
This is not a
test.
derivation check.
In the test. In the cargo extra arg something blah blah blah.
But this is a VM test. That's failing, right?
Maybe. Yeah, PR. Yeah, actually. So why is this at all? What is even happening here?
Yeah. So what does our VM test for the fetcher do, and how does it tell it not to talk to GitHub? I mean, we spent a lot of time on this. I just don't remember what we did.
Fetcher NixOS module. Fetcher.
Integration test. Fetcher.
I
And then
see.
one of those two. Create locally.
VM test run db create locally. It's not this one. It's create locally. Right. Integration test. It's this one.
Okay. My bad.
We're not even.
Enable fetcher. We tell it to run every single second with the backtrace.
Repo owner, repo name. This is not even supposed to work at all. It shouldn't be able. That's why it's querying GitHub. But it's not supposed to be querying GitHub.
Or
It's
is
not
it
supposed to be able to because it's a
fail?
VM by default. It shouldn't. Oh, it's supposed to fail. This wait until succeeds. Right, we're expecting this failure.
Yeah.
So is this really a failure? It says fail
maybe
to
it's just
start
noise.
fetcher. Failed to start the fetcher. I don't know. Actually, you know what?
Did the test succeed?
This succeeds actually.
Echo $? Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
so we're good. Nice. All right.
Well
We
done.
just saw some noise in the log. Okay,
Very,
that's what I was
very
hoping
cool.
for. What a wonderful feeling.
Okay. That's good progress. Thank you for your participation, Jeremy.
Thank you, Shar.
Thank you for watching. Please like, share, and subscribe. And see you next time. Jeremy, say goodbye.
Goodbye. Have a good weekend, everyone.